we are at Langston Hughes Performing Arts Institute, which is a truly, historic venue if we look at the Black history of Seattle, Washington. And I'm really honored that this is the third of the 3 dinner series we've been organizing. The first one was Burkina Faso dinner, and we are privileged to have Sandra, who will be joining me next after Wael. Sandra from Burkina Faso. Then we had Rwandan dinner, and tonight we're having Cameroonian dinner. It's really, even in Africa, we don't interact with most of the countries in Africa like we've been able to do here in Seattle through these dinners. So far, we've had over 30 of these dinners. Over 600 people have attended, and it's really amazing that tonight we're also privileged to have Catherine and Dave, who met at one of these dinners, and the rest is history. But Wael is the co-founder of Zaki Rose, is the director of Madaraka, the documentary that we are going to be watching later on tonight. And Wael is also like a brother of mine and a mentor of mine, and it's truly an honor to have you on Diaspora Connect on One Vibe TV.
Finally made it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I just wanted you to share with our viewers, how you and I connected originally, because I think that alone is a story that people should know.
We met. It's kind of weird. I do this or I do this and this. So I'm going to kind of do it all, right?
Yes.
We met at through a local filmmaker friend of ours. And at the time, I think I was doing this second annual Madaraka festival at EMP, which is now Mopop. There was just a need for video production services, live video production service. And after I met Simon, I kind of learned about his story, about his family and about his mother, and how his upbringing brought him from Kenya throughout the world and now to Seattle. And I thought there was a lot of similarities in my story. I'm from Lebanon. I was born in Lebanon, Beirut. And we traveled a lot throughout the world and America to finally, be immigrants in Meadowdale, Linwood, Washington. And I, grown up throughout the city or in the city. And so there's a lot of similarities about our family, about our culture. And once I learned more and got really much more ingrained in who his mother was and the stories of his family, I just thought, there needs to be a story to be told. There was a story to be told, and how it was going to be told is going to be very important. And that's how we met, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So now, from the time we met in 2015 until now, a lot has changed for you. One of those things that have changed that I know of is that you've moved. You're no longer in Seattle.
Right.
But the type of projects that you're also working on are huge. For example, you're doing projects with Mayweather, Richard Sherman, considering the humble beginning that you came from, getting on a boat from Lebanon to the U.S. and, growing up in a huge loving family that you have, and now you're working with all these big people, how has that transition changed you?
I think it's just, over a period of time, we learn more about ourselves and how we react to certain responsibilities that we have as human beings. And, I'm not my profession, but it's obviously a big part of who I am. And I run, a company. And when you run a company, it becomes kind of ingrained in your DNA to some extent. And I hope it doesn't necessarily change me, other than I think the only one thing that's done is made me more aware. Right. More aware of the people around me and my responsibilities to my community and my culture and my family, and trying to just kind of continue to reach more and more to enhance, uplift the people around me. I think that's kind of been my biggest struggle, is finding and seeing something in someone and not necessarily having them see the same thing I see in them. I think that's been my biggest challenge as an entrepreneur and as a director, and how do I meet those two things and bring them together. Yeah, so being able to, being fortunate enough to be around a lot of great people and working with some, well-known people, I think it's really kind of like brought me to a place of just understanding my responsibility and my role and how to serve. Yeah.
Thank you very much. This is the end of a decade, and we are just about to start another decade. And one of the things that I've been seeing is that this last decade was a decade of protests from the Arab Spring, and now we have the Friday for climate change, and all of these protests and changes happening globally. And recently in Lebanon, there's a lot of youths are protesting. They want change.
Yeah.
How are you engaged with all these movements?
Yeah, it is. It's deep right now in the Middle East, especially in Lebanon. I was just telling Meg's mother about it. She spent a little bit of time in Lebanon. But I think Lebanon is on its 74th day of revolution in the streets. And to make a really incredibly long story short, it's the first time, I think, in the Middle East that a non-secular revolution has kind of taken place where millions of people have come together to request the removal of the government completely and start anew. And Lebanon, if you don't know, it's a place where a lot of people go for the summer. They used to call it the Paris of the Middle East. A lot of people in Europe and Africa and in Asia go to Lebanon for just really beautiful vacations because it really is one of the most beautiful places in the world. And so the people, unfortunately, outside of the summer, don't have much of an economy to kind of like keep, energy throughout 24/7 and lights and hot water. And, it really is no middle class. It's incredibly wealthy individuals and different versions of, lower class. And so currently Lebanon, is in a really, really serious revolution. But there's a lot of these protests, and a lot of people are, I think, we're in an age of enlightenment, and I think a lot of people are seeing the things that they deserve, and governments that aren't necessarily looking out for their own good, for the people and serving them. And so it's a big thing that's happened in Lebanon. And I have a lot of friends that are on the ground. I was just there this summer. I want to do a film there in Tripoli, working with some folks on the ground that are extremely entrenched in the revolution right now. So it's been pretty amazing to see.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Is there any question I haven't asked you that you want to share with our viewers?
I'm just happy to be here. Seeing kind of the growth of One Vibe and the people that continue to support it has been great. I know a lot of your personal story and what you've been going through in the last few years, and I think regardless of the ups and downs that we have, staying true to your work and pivoting and continuing to evolve, I think is an important thing, and I think One Vibe's showing that.
Thank you.
And I'm just, it was a big part of my first film that I've ever done. It was a short film, so it was a big part of kind of like my trajectory as a director too. So yeah, it's been great.
Thank you very much. We'll bring you back after we watch the film so that we do a Q&A together. But I just want you to look at the camera and tell our viewers to subscribe to One Vibe TV.
Subscribe to Zaki Rose TV. No, I'm joking. I was kidding. Hey, this is Wael Abou-Zaki, and I definitely urge you to subscribe to One Vibe TV for all kinds of great original content made by amazing storytellers.
Excellent. And a lot of our creatives that we work with are people that you mentored, so I just want to say thank you again.
Yeah, of course.
Fantastic.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks,